My dear Americans, especially my Republican friends, come and let's see what's taking place in our country now. We are at historical point of our country and its democracy. Let us focus on these issues for a better understanding as we are facing this midterm election. As we are focusing on this 2022 upcoming congressional elections, we must discuss and understand and analyze the issues that are dominating our life and our society and our country. These are the points needs a better understanding before we go to the voting booth. So please let's come in as I have broke it down in 5 different categories to the issues that we must understand. How do we came to this point, where we are heading, and what needs to be done. And the greater understanding is much needed at this point as our situation is almost at doom. Whether you talk about environment, whether you talk about democracy, whether you talk about country security, whether you talk about global security, whether you talk about global economy, whether you talk about local economy. All of these issues we're faced with all at once as we are just coming out of this pandemic of Corona. It is a most difficult time as in my short life, and all the historical points has brought us to this situation. As I am working in a remote part of Bangladesh, but our focus remains what ahead of us and what's now in our in USA. I've taken these 5 basic mainstream points which is affecting of our everyday life. Let us discuss and focus on these 5 points, see what we can understand and how we can relate to this, our present situation. Number 1, that we think it's important that our present situations created by our First Amendment, which most of it, we will discuss about that, and the media's activity, media's presentation, public, social media, all of these factors needs to be understood first, which has changed most of our world today. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about our democracy, how our democracy is comparing with the world, and what the world is saying about our democracy, those comparisons, and how United Nations has a role into this particular democracy. So we'll talk about that particular point. And one of the things is very important, this is coming also from me personally, the issue that are dominating women's health and life in all of USA and maybe all of world. I personally against any type of abortion or abortion issue, late term or short term, but I still consider this is a woman's issue, woman's health issue, and they should not lose their rights to make a decision for their life and their health. So let it go. Let women make their women, our mothers, our sister. They are smart people. They know what they want. They know what they want to do. So at the most part, I trust them. Let them make their decision. Let this issue go. Let them have their choice. But we pray, we educate that abortion does not take place or people avoid it. Whatever means without violating women's right to do. So I would promote, or I have a certain beliefs on my own, but it's still a woman's choice. And that issue should be a big issue for this upcoming election. So please keep that in mind. So we have that particular issue. You know, I'm going to talk about these 5 points, 5 issues as a Republican. I am a true Republican. I believe in Republican values. It's a wonderful party. It's a party of our great leader, Abraham Lincoln. The Republican Party has done a lot of good things in this country, of course, around the world as well. I know. I'm physically seen and understood and comfortable. That is why I'm speaking in a full-hearted Republican. So those people are confused or misunderstood with today's various type of publications, media, propaganda, from all of these things. Please think it again, try to understand. I will try to provide you a formula. One of the main observations over here is media's contribution of making of Trump today. But my first point is simple. I'm just gonna mention one simple point. We, or the media, under the First Amendment umbrella, made thousands of broadcasting of Mr. Trump. Good or bad, that doesn't matter. As Bill Clinton says, every broadcasting, every announcement, good or bad, it works for the party. So Mr. Trump knew how to play and what was in the playbook. Every morning he came out with a small tweet, or in the afternoon another tweet. In those two tweets, carried by every media outlet, good or bad, and analyzed it, overplayed it all over the world, over and over again, and trying to give him overexposure and give him all this attention, made him today's the type of influential leader in a certain group, not in all over the country, but to a certain group. Which groups must understand these issues, that you cannot be influenced just by somebody's trying to portray a division within our society. Our society, American society, is a wonderful society, and it's an immigrant society. Just by having an issue that stopped the southern border does not mean that he is a qualified president and he is running all the issues that are totally opposite from our values today. The world values, the American values, all values against it. And we have to realize that. Please, the remedy is strange. The remedy is not broadcasting him, not give him the exposure. But that is not the way our society or the media is set up today. So it's a very much complex thing. So that is why, as a consumer, as a listener, we must understand that how much to accept and what means is being delivered and how much it should affect my life and how much we should filter it. That is becoming another great challenge, and it is becoming upon us now. So my simple formula on this particular point is simple as that. Whatever you hear in the social media, it comes from a personal prospect. So social media, 75% don't believe. Print media, you can believe some of it. Then you'll still have to go to the third independent sources to listen to all three of them if you are that much interested or have that much understanding or wants to have a voice and opinion about that issue. Then you should try between 3 to 4 multimedia system before you can accept that issue in your heart. You can accept that solution in your heart. So it is a very crucial point. Whatever you hear in the social media, you cannot take that one by its face value. You must analyze, or you must see a supporting information to those social media information before you accept. And general media, whether it's CNN or CSNBC or Fox Media or whoever, please, overexposing. I know this is a big business and a good business, but it is damaging our country. So find a way in your board meeting to find a solution. How can we limit a false information, false propaganda that you've been used for? And ultimately, they are getting results. They are creating influence by having an exposed leader, not by being a good leader, by exposed leader. So I'm going to leave this point up to this point, and I would appreciate your better understanding to relate the subject with this particular point. You know, one of our main issues and part of the reason that we're so concerned and that we're talking about it today, which is the democracy. Our democracy in the world, which is we are the guardian of the democracy of the world. We preach, we spend, we send resources, we give energies, we give know-how to develop democracy. If that particular democracy, we do not respect ourselves, how can we tell others what to do? It is a very crucial point. You must understand, today's world is a rich world, well-connected world. In 1960s, 50s, 40s, you could do a lot of things because people did not get the information. They have information within their fingertip. So if you make a wrong move, illogical move for your own democracy practice, you cannot dictate or counsel or request or any kind of advice to the others. Especially others, we gave it before, but that time they were not that resourceful. So we were able to make an impact, a stick, which is called it. It doesn't stick anymore because most of the countries that we are come to concern with, they're also well-to-do. So before they listen to us anything, they analyze their own values, what works for them. So we must have a high degree of stick for ourselves. That is why you must practice good democracy. If lie, wrong information, persistent lying information damage our democracy, it damages your life and our country. So please, it's important that get a democracy, and especially United Nations. United Nations is I don't know whether it's a joke institution or not, but at least at this short video, I can want to tell you that they must admit to those countries that runs in a two-term elections. Two-term. One of the world's main crises today is one thing. Those leader wants to stay more than 2 terms. Those are the countries facing with most of the difficulties. They always look for, whenever it comes to the 3rd term or extended term, they come up with the different tricks, different political movement, different ideology, different war, different way of doing illegal type of things, oppressing opposition. All of these things become their forte whenever they want to extend. So one of the fundamental things United Nations must address, those countries wants to be part of the United Nations body, they must be respectful and do a 2 term. More than 2 terms, people don't want to accept anymore. It is just a normal means. For anybody, it's good. Even you see throughout the history, those leaders, there are good leaders, independent leaders of their country, the language leader for their country. They also become a victim of a negative situation. Why? Because they extended term, more than 2 term, more than 3 term, more than 4 term. Those are the country end up in revolution. Those are the country become failed country. So focus on those things that do not stay more than 2 terms. That should be a universal thing. So that is the issue I tell you about the democracy, which should value us from us. In democracy, which is value? Do you think the mighty dollar has a value? But there is a biggest value. When those committee in our Congress, when those committees summons for a hearing, listen to the people, listen to the ask question as a people's representative around the world, everybody loves it, respects it. That is the point that they think that America is in the right way, America is the right country. So it is a very important of practicing within our democratic system. As a 3rd point, as we said, we also elaborated that women's right, women's choice, that issue has been discussed earlier. So please listen to it. You have a larger population in the world, you have a larger say-so, and you are a smart people. That is the main reason you should try to stay within your ground. You know, we just had a 2020 presidential and congressional election, which has been discussed, criticized, lied, all aspects of various negative things, as well as positive things happen, and trying to make it controversial, which is not necessary. Our people, election people, pandemic people, done a wonderful job within this environment that they were able to execute. It demonstrated the world that we can execute, even under the most emergency type of situation, a good democracy. So that was a good thing. Let us be proud of it and let's move on. And secondly, do you realize that most of these election results, whether state-wise, national-wise, all were certified by most of Republican leaders, most of Republican officials, which we can be proud of. They were under pressure. They're under own beliefs. They're under own support mechanism, their own membership, their own position, pressure from the Trump. All of those things, they did not heal. They showed their character. They're a good Republican, a valuable Republican, a moral person. What they saw right, and that's what they certificate. And we should be proud of that. We should run with it, that the quality of people that we are, we should be governing the country. So be understood that rather than criticizing them, are undermining that election. Let's move forward. Let the 2020 go. And let's focus on 2022. Why? Because 2020 to save our country. Because that same group, the people that who created this environment, we have to rescue our system, our country from that group. That is why, even though as Republican as I have professed to be in this video, I would still say, go vote Democrat, save the country first. We have a 1994 coming, 2024 coming, 2024 coming. We will take over. We have a good conservative Republican leaders. We have a good conservative local leaders. We'll take over, we'll push for our values, we'll promote and practice our values the way Republicans always made a good judgments in policies and overall distributions. So we can be always proud of. Let's get back. We will let this go, save the country, let this 2022 go to Democrat so we can save the country, because priorities are different. That's part of the only reason. And in 2024, we'll come back, we'll take it all. Let's make us promise and let's make us reorganize and save the country now and vote Democrat, even though as a good Republican, I'm saying that because of for the sake of the country. I hope you had some understanding of what we talked about in this particular video. Do not hesitate to make the comments and come out and understand and tell your fellow friend what you see all in the Facebook is not our life. We have to understand better than that. We have to make a right decision. We have to be smart. If we want to rule the world, we have to be smart. It's a smarter world. It's a richer world. It's not yesterday's world. So the way you think or treat or wants to present yourself, these are all critical. Because everybody is sensitive. That is why everybody's looking at us. If we want to make America great, we are great. We are great. But we have to preserve it. We are great. Don't fall for these stupid slogans. We are great. People still line up by miles to get into the American embassy. What does that tell you? People are thousands by thousands are lining up in our southern border. What does that tell you? It means we're still great. Yes, we are not dealing with those issues probably correctly, but that's to be discussed within us. That's to be find a solution and policy within us. Don't throw away the country. Don't go behind a false information, false leadership, and lower the standard of America. Do not lower the standard of America. That will hurt us. Thank you for listening. I appreciate for your better judgment. Thank you.